On January 8th, Hiller boys and girls swimming took on Dover Sherborne. Here's a look at some highlights.
Good to see the kids out there cheering a little bit at the end there.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
All
right, come on, Kevin. And who's
there.
swimming anchor in lane 4, John?
Tyler Fallon will be diving in.
All right, come on, Tyler. He got a little bit of a lead in the pool, which is awesome. Let's see.
Nice helicopter hands there.
Come on, Tyler.
But he's got a very worthy opponent there in lane 3.
He does. Let's see.
The turn is always so good.
All right,
yeah,
beautiful. Come on, Tyler.
Come on, Tyler.
Come on, Tyler.
This is important, Tyler. Let's make it happen. Go,
Come on,
Tyler.
All right, he's got to power all the way to the wall. Nice.
Yeah.
So the swimmer from Dover Sherborne is catching up. We have some strong pulls here by everyone. Nice turn again. Natalie Buffard has really had some nice turns on this event. Deirdre has as well. And then we have the girl from Dover Sherborne is looking really good too. So let's see. All right, come on, Natalie. Come on, Natalie. All right, nice. Nice swim by Natalie Buffard. Dover Sherborne gets second, and a very nice swim by Deirdre Belger in third. And we have Mayu over in lane 6. She's looking good.
Boys swimming fell to Dover Sherborne in a close one, 89-73. Tyler Fallon won a pair of races for the boys. The girls' team took a 95-69 victory over Dover Sherborne. Olivia Scalora captured the victory in a pair of races for the Hiller girls. On Tuesday, January 11th, boys track and field finished undefeated in the TVL and claimed the TVL Large Championship as they took down Holliston and Ashland. Some of the key victories were captured by Sean Golombiewski, Neil Abraham, Declan Mick, and Ansu Valor. Girls track and field split with Ashland and Holliston. Some of the key wins by the Hiller girls were by Ellie Driscoll, Carmen Thomas, Saneed Herr, Bridget O'Connor, and Kira O'Connor. Girls basketball opened up their season in Dover Sherborne after many COVID postponements. On Tuesday, January 11th, the girls fell in a close game, 49-35. Boys basketball battled Dover Sherborne at home this past Tuesday. The Hiller offense got things rolling early on.
Well, Coach Keene knows he's going to have to be aggressive against this talented Dover Sherborne team, and that's what he's doing here. Paharic for 3. Count it. Now Rahane for 3. Count it.
Offensive barrage. I don't know if they've missed any shots tonight.
They have not. They are perfect from the field so far.
Forced it.
2 for Tahi it goes.
Nice recovery.
Rahane for 3. Yes! Caleb Rahane, the senior, feeling it.
A nice run to start the first quarter. Hopkinton outscored Dover Sherborne in the first frame, 22-19, as Caleb Rahane and Nate Casper each struck for 6 points in the quarter.
Casper, Tahi, driving in, kicks it out. Up is Rahane. Yes!
That's his third three-pointer.
Hillers outscored Dover Sherborne in the second quarter, 15-14, and took a 37-31 lead into the halftime locker room. In the third quarter, Luke Rinaldi of Dover Sherborne struck for 16 points in the quarter.
Schnorr, Poku with the rebound, feeds it up to Rinaldi. Rinaldi with the finish.
Good time out there. I think it's the first lead of the night for Dover Sherborne.
Dover Sherborne outscored Hopkinton 19-11 in the quarter and led 50-48 heading into the fourth quarter. Dover Sherborne continued to strike effectively from the low post in the fourth quarter, outscoring Hopkinton 19-17 in the frame, and Dover Sherborne took the win over the Hillers 69-65. Hopkinton fell to 2-2 on the season, while Dover Sherborne improved to 7-1. On Wednesday, January 12th, Hiller boys hockey battled Dover Sherborne Weston Co-op. DS struck first a minute and 35 seconds in.
Working it up the ice, Andrew Martin. Getting in front of him, Scardino. Looking for a shot, and it's in! What a shot that was! Left side of the net goes Braden McKenna, the freshman. And just like that, it's 1-0 Dover Sherborne Weston.
After the Dover Sherborne goals, the Hillers netted 2 of their own.
Get some good TVL hockey action. Jammed up along the corner, and there's a shot, and it's in! Manoli Barris with a beauty. Manoli Barris on the one-timer, ties it up at 1 apiece. Hilt along the near side. Here goes Carazza, trying to break away, rushing in, and he'll score! Joe Carazza with a beauty of a breakaway, pops it in with the backhander, and it's 2-1 Hillers.
Hopkinton led 2-1 heading into the second period. Both teams struck for more goals in the second frame.
Don't forget, we have a whole lot of Hillers sports for you this week and weekend. More on that in just a moment. Zolotarev sends it out. Carazza with a shot and a goal! Goldstein didn't even see it coming, and he just put it right over the goaltender's head. Unbelievable. Misfire there, it's taken away. Here goes Burke. Flying up the ice, and he puts it in! Connor Burke with an unbelievable steal, and able to burn Carazza up the ice to make it a 3-2 game. Ian Tosca. Backhander out in front. Title trying to get the stick in there, and it's put in! And I'm not sure who got the last touch on that one. I want to say it was Scardino. Opportunity here. Morse sends it up. Now back to Morse, takes the shot, and it's put in! Morse was trying to get it in front of the net, and it went right off the stick of Carazza.
Hopkinton outscored Dover Sherborne 3-1 in the second period. The Hillers ended up taking the game by a final of 6-2 and captured their first win of the season. Later on that night, Hopkinton Dover Sherborne Girls Co-op hosted West and East Bridgewater Co-op, otherwise known as Webb. Hopkinton Dover Sherborne struck in the first period.
For those of you trying to tune into the live stream, we are having some connection issues, but we will continue to work on them. And we're going to have a goal by the Hillers. It's going to be Bianca Musgrave.
Hillers led 1-0 heading into the second and fouled the net once again.
Sophia Mazzucchelli, the last standing Hillers co-op player out of BBT, takes the shot, and that is in! Goal Hillers! That'll make it a 2-0 game.
Sophia Mazzucchelli out of Blackstone Valley Tech nets a goal at 9:36 left to give the Hopkinton Dover Sherborne Co-op a 2-0 lead, and that's how the score would stay, as the girls also captured their first win of the season this past Wednesday night. Hello, everybody, and welcome to today's edition of HCAM Sports Talk. I'm your host, Tom Nappy, and joining us on the show today, we have Jared Keene from the Metrowest Daily News. We have Andy Barron from MyFm 101.3, and we have some guy named Mike Torosian. Guys, how are you?
Hey, Tom, good to see you.
Good to be back.
Good, Tom.
Good to see you,
Definitely.
Mike. Jared.
Fellas.
Well,
Yeah.
since we're doing 2 points for each playoff win, Mike, you're right back in the picture. You're
6 for 6.
You went 6 for 6. So did I. I had a great week. Wish I bet more money. You're 19 games out, so you still do have a chance.
Yay.
And we'll get into our picks for the divisional round coming up. But first, we're going to start off talking about the NFL action that took place last week. And after watching all the games from this past weekend, I can say that I do not like the 7 teams coming out of each conference in the playoffs. You had 2 games that were good, 4 games that were absolute duds. And I think that 7-team system isn't doing the NFL any favors. I mean, it's more football. They're not going to change it, but I think it was a lot more competitive with 6 teams. What was your guys' take on the playoff action this past weekend? And what are you thinking about the 7-team playoff system so far?
Well, I mean, my first take is the Bengals are for real. That was a hard-earned victory. The Raiders showed up. They almost took them down. And I think the Bengals defense is a little bit better than I thought it was, because that Raiders offense is legit. So they proved that they can now win in the postseason. Second thing, no, I don't like the format either. I believe the first 2 teams should have a bye. And why are we playing a Monday night game? Makes no sense. It's
Money.
Unfair. It's unfair. It's like now the Rams have a short week to prepare for Tampa Bay. That's not fair. And believe me, I'm not a fan of either team. But again, why don't you just play the 3 games on Saturdays and Sundays? You got to make it fair for each team. That's just my opinion. But you're right, Tom. They're not going to change it. And the NFL's all about money. I told you, I don't even agree with the 17 weeks schedule. Again, it's all about money with the NFL. They're a money-driven league. But no, there were really only 2 good games. It was the Cincinnati Raiders game, and it was the Dallas San Francisco game until Dallas decided, well, we'll just run the ball and we'll have no time left on the clock. How in the world can anybody take that Cowboys team seriously? With all of that, I told you this on the show, gentlemen, they will find a way to screw it up, and they did.
Yep, they certainly did. Mike, Mr. 6-0, like myself last week, what were your thoughts about the?
Well, I can only echo basically off of Andy there, but the big thing, the format. Let's go with the format. Yeah, the format is I think is an extended waste. I don't see the fairness in the competition where, you play the Saturday and the Sundays, but now you got to. What's going to happen next year? Thursday night game, Friday night game. Oh, hey, why don't we just play a playoff game over in England too? I understand that money driven, everything's money driven, but come on, guys, how much more money do you need?
Right.
That's really it. I mean, you cap off what you can pay your superstars without having to pay the luxury taxes and so forth. So there are the salary caps, but why? Oh, well, I'm sorry. I know why. Because you have, you don't have people owning teams anymore. You have LLCs owning them. And there's 10 to 20 people in that LLC. Now they all got to make money, and it just goes on and on and on. And it just ruins the integrity of the game. Enough of that. Again, the only good games was the San Francisco and the Cincinnati game. I'm with you on that. The Patriots won. The Patriots won 0-0-1-E. The Patriots won 0-1-1-E. That was so hard to watch. You see my school picks throughout the season. It's very rare for me to go against our New England team when I bet, when we predicted and so forth. And I knew they didn't stand a chance at Buffalo. When you hear that you can get a ticket for $35 to a playoff game, nobody's interested. The Patriots weren't going to carry that. So, yeah, that's enough of that rant.
Everyone picked Buffalo except Steve, which is, he's expected.
Was he just trying to be funny? Is it?
No, he is all about, he'll pick New England no matter who they're playing.
Wow. I wish I could have that kind of faith.
Absolutely. And I got a lot to say about that New England game. We'll get into
we know
it
you
in a
do.
moment. But
Oh,
Jared,
we know
And
you
we-
do. We know you do.
What we gonna do? Just read.
We know you do.
You're just gonna read those angry tweets or what?
oh yeah, pretty much. Jared, what were some of your initial thoughts about the games this past weekend?
As far as the system goes, I'm not the biggest fan of it. That being said, we also could have seen some different matchups this weekend based on some results that happened in the last weekend of games.
Right.
If things go differently, we might see some different matchups this past weekend and maybe some better games. Maybe Pittsburgh doesn't make it and maybe somebody else comes in and actually gives the Chiefs a game. So we also kind of have to look at that a little bit. Again, that being said, I'm not the biggest fan of the system. But I think the bigger thing is what Andy touched on about the Monday night game. I think that's, excuse my language. He said it best. I mean, for a team to have to play Monday night and then come on a short week and play against arguably the greatest quarterback of all time and a really good team. Come on, that's not fair. That's, just do 3 on Saturday, 3 on Sunday. That's.
Yeah.
I don't get it a single bit.
The one thing I can say about that, is where are you going to get better ratings? Saturday at 1:00 or Monday night? Because there is nothing else going on Monday night.
But I think Saturday again, people are off. Like for me,
Yeah,
exactly.
You could have put that Patriots-Bills game on at 1:05, and we could have just gotten the thing over with.
and it was a 3-day weekend around the country.
Exactly, Mike. Yeah, they did it last year.
Yeah.
I thought it was fantastic when they did it. Put a 1:05 game on Saturday. That's great.
Absolutely.
I
Well, you know
agree.
what? It wasn't
I
a
agree.
3-day weekend for me. I had games all weekend. Okay.
Well, you're a busy man, Tom. But it's great because I do my radio show on Saturday. You talk up a game a little bit here. Why not?
Yeah.
The Monday night game makes no sense. This game was over by the second quarter. I'm like, I'm done. I'm going to bed.
I really expected the Cardinals to play a little bit better than that. That was ridiculously bad.
Horrible.
They were almost as bad as the Patriots. So let's get into the Patriots, shall we?
Oh yeah. How about those Pats?
Oh,
Tom, just
You know
go
what?
for it. Tom, don't even ask a question, Tom. Just go for it. We
You know-
know you have a lot on your mind. Just go for it.
I do. I've been waiting for this moment.
Oh, we know. We know.
So they have a new rookie quarterback. They have a great stretch during the season. They beat some good opponents on the road, like the Chargers and a few others. Mac Jones is looking good. The offense, defense starting to come into shape. Then the last 5 games of the season, you go 1-4. You're absolutely horrible. All right, maybe they can, have a turnaround in the playoffs. They're playing Buffalo, an opponent that they're familiar with. Both games they played them this year were relatively close. And what do? They give the worst performance I have ever seen in a playoff game. And you know what? Anything that they accomplished this year, in my opinion, it doesn't matter. That performance was disgraceful. The offense was a mess. The defense was a mess. The special teams were a mess. The coaching was clearly a mess. It was awful to lay a dud like that. Any accomplishment that you did this season, out the window. Bill Belichick needs to be on the hot seat. I give him 1 more year. And if he does one of 2 things, he's out. The first thing is, if he doesn't make the playoffs, out. The second thing is, if he makes the playoffs and has a dud like he just had this past Saturday night, out. This team was an absolute mess. They weren't ready at all for this game. I don't know what happened in that locker room. I've heard there's some kind of disagreements between players and coaches and Belichick's son or whatever. We'll probably not know that for quite a while. But, it was impressive they made the playoffs. But guess what? It's not impressive anymore because you didn't really make the playoffs. You didn't come prepared for the playoffs. You shouldn't have even been in the playoffs with the way you played in that game. That was totally disgraceful and awful. And I think Belichick, he might have lost his fastball. I'm really starting to believe that. And in a season where you think, oh, maybe we'll have a Pats-Bucks Super Bowl, or maybe the Pats are going to make a run in the playoffs, and Belichick's going to show you can do it without Brady. Guess what? He didn't show he can do it without Brady. He didn't show anything. He didn't show that he could put together a defense. He didn't show that he could put together an offense. That was awful. One of the worst performances I've ever seen in playoff history. The coaching staff needs to be ripped apart. The defense needs to be ripped apart. Rip apart the offense while you're at it. And Belichick, if he has another playoff dud like he did this season, or he doesn't make the playoffs next year, adios. You're done.
Tom, stop holding back. Tell us how you really feel.
It was awful. Terrible. How do you go into the playoffs against a division rival and have a performance like that? It was just awful. There's no other word to describe it. Everything was awful. How'd you guys feel?
Well,
I'm glad they had nicer weather than what was predicted.
Yeah.
I got nothing.
No, Tom, I agree with a lot of things that you say. But here's what I'm going to tell you. Take a look around the league at some of these other coaches. No thanks. Okay? Now, Bill's got his faults. Don't get me wrong. Okay? But who's the alternative, really?
There's a bunch of them.
Who?
How about Flores?
There really isn't, though,
Mike
Tom.
McCarthy?
There's not actually a good alternative. You're out of your mind.
Yeah, sign me up.
You're out of your mind.
Brandon Staley, sign me up.
You know what? I'm not out of my mind. They just went to the playoffs. They lost 47 to 10. Okay, 47 to 10.
We were there.
Honestly, Tom, what?
You know what? I don't know who the
expectation?
answer is. I don't know who should become the coach. Maybe it's Jim Harbaugh. Maybe it's Flores. I'm not saying fire Belichick right now. I'm saying give him another year. But if he has another dud in the playoffs like this, he needs to be out because he's done.
And
he's lost his fastball. And it's time to turn the page.
The Patriots won't fire him. He will retire.
Right, and it probably will be Josh McDaniels, most likely.
Well, that's probably even worse. But
Well, yeah, I mean, I'm not a fan of the guy either. But again, Bob Kraft is not going to hire somebody outside the organization. It's not happening.
No.
you
He's
know
not
what?
going to do it.
This whole thing is probably Matt Patricia's fault. He came back and what happens? The team's a disaster again. But I will tell you this.
Man. Come on.
They really need to
Good
rip.
Lord.
I want them to rip apart this coaching staff.
Oh,
I
God.
really do. Especially
This
the
is
defensive
outrageous.
coaches. They were awful. I think Steve Belichick probably needs to be fired. I don't know who else was responsible for this thing that you call the defense, but it was terrible. You have no future with the current coaching staff that you have. Maybe you have a future with the head coach, but his supporting cast, I think they're garbage, and they clearly can't win big games. And their defense cost them so much this season. You think about games like against the Cowboys, where they gave up more points than a Patriots team has ever given up in any game. And you think about pretty much whenever they met up with a good team. The New Orleans Saints was another one. The Dolphins in week 1, another game that you should have won, but the defense was just absolutely awful. And then you think about the last 4 or 5 weeks where you got crushed by Miami. You got beat by Buffalo. Buffalo ran all over you. How does Buffalo run all over anybody?
Buffalo's a better team, Tom. Buffalo is the better team.
Their running backs, though, I'm talking about a specific part of their game. Buffalo is the better team. I agree with you there. But their running backs they haven't done anything against anybody. They've been mostly a passing team because their running backs are so awful. Yet they play you and they run all over you somehow. I don't know how you let that happen.
For the first time in a long time, you're looking up at Buffalo. They're clearly the better team, like Jared just said. And you know what? I don't even know if you're better than Miami right now. You lost to them twice this year. I mean, I'm just saying. This team needs work. They need some work, okay? But there are some bright spots. Hunter Henry, Kendrick Bourne, Damian Harris. These are some bright spots in the team. And listen, let's not forget, James White was a massive loss for this team.
Yep.
Okay, I'm not saying they were going to be Buffalo, but you clearly have to agree that offense is a different offense with him on the field. They need a top-notch receiver, okay? They need somebody.
They need a defense.
They do. I agree with you 100%. But you need that guy who you're going to strike fear into the other team. Now, Kendrick Bourne is a very good receiver, but I don't think he's a number one guy.
No.
You know, you need somebody like, for example, like Adam Thielen or Michael Thomas. That's what they're missing. That changes your whole offense. And I think having Trent Brown come back helped too. Isaiah Wynn has been a major disappointment. This guy cannot stay on the field. He's not healthy. Okay, I agree. They got a lot of work to do, but I don't think they're as far off as you think. Listen, they got their rear ends kicked in Buffalo. It was an embarrassment. You live and you learn. Okay, you just take your lunch pail and go home. You got beat by a better football team. Okay, but I think they did take a step forward.
No, you got crushed by a better football team.
But you did make the playoffs. You won 10 games with a rookie quarterback. You were better than you were the year before. Okay, I'm just saying. I don't think they're as far off. They got to fix some things, no doubt about it. And there are some things that I'm not crazy about either. But you got to give Mac. A lot of people have been saying this too. You got to give Mac Jones a little bit more time. It's his first year.
Right. Mac Jones isn't the problem.
No,
I like Mac Jones.
No, it wasn't.
Look, it's not that I expected the Pats to beat Buffalo. I picked Buffalo to win. I thought Buffalo was going to win. But for them to lose like that, to get embarrassed like that, especially after the horrid games you just played 3 of the last 4 weeks going into the playoffs, there's clearly something really wrong with this team.
Something really wrong here.
I think you need to really just tear apart the coaching staff. Keep Bill Belichick for a year.
No, I don't
get him yet. All right. He's on the hot seat though this year. He's on the hot seat. You keep Bill, tear apart the rest of the coaching staff because they were clearly garbage. Tear apart the defense. You need a whole new defense. I mean, even Judon did nothing in the last 5 weeks.
Yeah, you don't get rid of Judon. You don't get rid of guys like Christian Barmore or Kyle Duggar or anything like that. You have a lot of good pieces on the defense. You just need to replace a few pieces on the defense.
I think
Tom, this is ridiculous. Let me ask you an honest question. Let me ask you a real honest question here. What was your honest expectation of this Patriots team in the playoffs?
To lose against Buffalo in a competitive way.
You're talking like you expected them to win a Super Bowl.
Apart? Have you been watching
like you expected them to win a
Super
Bowl?
I didn't expect them to win a Super Bowl. You're not listening to what I'm saying.
To Jared's point, Tom, don't forget, I think it was both of us 6 weeks ago, we were saying, oh, yeah, it's got to be the Buccaneers Patriots in the Super Bowl.
I said if the Pats keep playing like this, they're red hot.
That's right.
They won 10 games. They made the playoffs. That's really good in a season like this with a new team and a new quarterback.
The defense needs to work. 10. You didn't even deserve to be there.
Listen, right?
They were better off not making the playoffs.
Yes. They got their butts kicked, but you move on. I agree with everything Andy said. I agree with everything Andy said.
Can I vent a little? Jeez.
I mean, your vent is this is epic. This is the most epic rant of all time.
Look, their defense is awful. It's terrible. Watching these games, they are slow. They had no pass rush. They had no pressure. They had nothing in these last 5 games or so. Minus the Jags game, but it's the Jags. But they had nothing on this defense. They are slow. They're outdated. They can't keep up with anybody. Teams go in there, run all over them, pass all over them. They can't get off the field. What kind of defense is that?
At third down, they were terrible on third down. But let me ask you just real quick. Did the bye week hurt this team? Because this was not the same team after that bye week.
Well, clearly something happened during the bye week.
Yeah, I was going to say, I don't know if you can blame a bye week, but something happened.
No doubt about it, Mike. I mean, this was not the same team. You come off with a massive win against Buffalo the way you did. Yes, I think we were all buying into this. I know I was wrong. Something clearly this team was just not ready yet. But they do have some good pieces here. And again, I know
no one's not saying they don't have good pieces. No one's saying that.
Well, you're saying they need to revamp the whole defense. They have a lot of good pieces on the defense. They just need to replace a few pieces on the defense. They don't need to revamp the whole defense.
Doesn't mean
there's a lot of good pieces on that defense.
Did I ever say they need to get rid of every player? No, I never said that.
You just said they need to revamp the whole defense.
Revamp doesn't mean get rid of every player. That's not what revamp means. It means get rid of a lot of players and bring in a lot better players. That's what
revamp they can bring in this offseason. It's a critical offseason again. But what in the world? Jonnu Smith, this was a disgrace. This guy did nothing.
Yeah, he needs to go.
They need to cut him. I mean, really. N'Keal Harry, Smith. I mean, some of these guys, just, you got to move on. But listen, I think Jacoby Myers got better this year. I like Bourne. What about this Christian Wilkinson guy? Why wasn't he at least on? I mean, I know he had one good game, but it looked like he might have had something a little bit there, and then we don't see him again. I like Duggar. I like Phillips, Judon, Barmore. your running backs are pretty good. They just, again, it's just, but some guys need to go. There's no question. You got to get your players win your championships. The coaching is very important, though, no doubt about it. But you need those type of players. And again, I think you get another year under some of these guys. I mean, but again, you're going after Buffalo and Miami. They're better than you right now. Right now, you are just a wild card team. I don't even think you're better than the Raiders right now.
If you kept this same team, same coaching and everything, you don't even make the playoffs next year. This defense is way too slow. I think you need new linebackers. I think the linebackers are way too slow. I think you need new defensive ends. You had no pass rush. You can't stop the run. You couldn't stop the pass. Couldn't really stop anything. They need to bring in some huge pieces to this defense. And I know there's going to be a lot of guys retiring. I'm expecting Hightower to retire, but Kyle Van Noy, he did next to nothing this year. Pretty much any of the linebackers except, Judon did next to nothing.
First off, to Tom's point about needing some studs on each side of the line, offense and defense, but you really don't have a team leader or defensive leader or offensive leader. There is nobody. I mean, every year you can say, "Oh yeah, Brady was the leader this year, and he was leader on D, and this guy's on." You've had nobody. I mean, I don't even know who wore the captain's patch this year. I didn't care. You just couldn't tell who was the leader.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's a great point.
That's a very good point.
Devin McCourty, I mean, is he done? This might be it for him.
I don't know.
He just didn't look good. He's had a great career, but these are some of the questions we need to start asking. You're right. Who is that leader? Didn't really see it. Listen, I still don't know if trading away Gilmore was good. And what about Sony Michel?
Forced your hand on that one.
Well, okay, but last night I'm watching the game, and Sony Michel looks like a different player, guys. I don't know if you agree with me. That's not the same player I saw here. I'm like, we got a 3rd round pick for this guy.
I agree.
I don't know.
He's a better offense.
That's true, but he looks better. I mean, I'm like, whoa, like that was not the same player I saw here.
But, going back to the bye week and how everything went downhill from there, something clearly happened. And you have to suspect that it had to involve the coaching staff. And Steve Belichick, he's had problems with guys like Malcolm Butler before the Super Bowl against the Eagles. And he's had issues with different guys. I mean, based on rumors that I've heard, but it had to be something with the coaching staff because their scheme totally changed. And it looks like they were buying in before that bye week. After the bye week, it didn't seem like they were buying in anymore. I don't know what happened there, but that's why I say tear apart this coaching staff. And if certain coaches are a problem and you have a good portion of your team not getting along with that coach, you can't keep them, even if it is Steve Belichick. You can't have guys here that are going to create problems, and that includes coaches. So, Bill Belichick, this is his 2nd year without Brady. He made the playoffs. That's impressive, but it was a total dud in the playoffs after a 7-9 season or whatever it was. If you go into that 3rd year and you keep basically the same team, number one, you probably won't even make the playoffs, but you have another performance like this in the 1st round. I mean, there's high expectations here, and there should be. And there's high expectations with Bill Belichick. And, I don't know how much longer he plans on coaching for. And I'm not saying fire Bill right now, but I hope Bill's willing to make some changes with his coaching staff and willing to make big changes with his defense, because it didn't work. It didn't work. All right. So we should probably move on to the games we have coming up this week.
That was top one rant ever on the show. Ever.
Patriots have a tough schedule next year too. It won't be easy. They got their work cut out for them.
Tom, I just sent you an email my picks because I didn't think we were going to have enough time to do them.
No, we have plenty. I want to see a pass rush next year. I want to see some speed on defense.
Oh, nice, Mike. Nice.
I'm hoping there's some big changes coming, because this team can be competitive. I got faith in Mac Jones. I think he's good. I think this team can be competitive, but you got to be willing to make big changes. All right, so we got 4 big games coming up next week, and as much as I complained about the 7 teams in the playoffs, the teams that are left, these are going to be epic games this week. They're going to be a lot better games than we saw this past weekend. That's for sure. So the first game, we have the 4th-seeded Bengals at the 1st-seeded Titans. It'll take place Saturday at 4:30. This is going to be a terrific game. And I do agree. I think the Bengals are very much for real. Burrow to Chase. Oh, just unbelievable. It's so deadly of a combo. And the Bengals defense has been playing very well. They're a good, well-rounded football team. But so are the Tennessee Titans, and they got Derrick Henry back. So this is going to be a heck of a game. And let's take a look actually at the standings. So we're doing 2 games for each win in the playoff games. So Jared, you have 185, we'll call it points now since it's not really wins, but you went 4-2 last week, and you have 185 points. I went 6-0. I have 183, so I'm right in there with you. Steve Watson had a miserable week. He went 2-4. He has 173. Andy, you might overlap Steve. You went 5-1 last week. You have 169. Mike went also perfect 6-0. He has 166. And Kevin, who we're really just kind of picking for, I gave him the Bucks and the Bills because I knew he wouldn't pick the Pats. But he went 2-4. He has 134 points. He's pretty much out. Not that he was ever really in. But by the way, come back to the show, Kevin. We miss you. We miss you.
We do miss you, Kevin.
Yeah. We do.
Bengals at Titans. Let's give Jared the first pick on this one.
I'm going to go with the Bengals here. Why not? This is a hot team right now. Their offense is clicking. They have a really good defense. I don't believe in Ryan Tannehill. Derrick Henry is back, but I don't know. I just got some weird feeling. Bengals. I don't know. This is a tough one to pick.
It really is. This could really go either way. Andy, who you going with?
I'm going to go piggyback off what Jared said. I'm going with the Bengals. Got to buy into them now. It was an impressive win for them last week. It was a hard-fought win. Their offense struggled at times, but they scored enough points to win. Yeah, the Burrow to Chase tandem is something that could be for years to come. This team is going to be a team in the AFC I think you're going to be seeing around for a while. They have a good running game. Yep. Another good receiver, too, Tyler Boyd. Solid receiver. This Tennessee team, I think they're just kind of a week 1 seed. I don't know. There's something about them. Yeah, Derrick Henry is coming back. He's a fantastic player, but he hasn't played in over 2 months.
Yep.
I don't believe in Tannehill. I think this is going to be a good game, though. This might be a 3-7, 4, 5-point game, but I think the Bengals are going to pull it out.
I'll tell you what, that Titans backup running back, who I'm trying to look up really quickly.
Foreman, I think is his name.
Yeah, it was Foreman and Hilliard got in there. Yep. They did pretty well in the absence of Derrick Henry, I must say. Mike, who are you going with?
Well, this year was my on the fence game. I don't know which way I was leaning because, I like the Titans. And again, I love the term. I don't know who said it, but it was a week 1 seeder. Was that your time? That's a good term. I liked them during the season, but yes, the Bengals' performance last week is what's making me lean their direction. So, long story short, we'll go with Bengals.
All right, I am very, very torn on this one. I'm still even torn, but obviously I'm on the hot seat. I have to decide. The Bengals did look very good last week. And I definitely think they definitely have a chance to win this game. But we go into Tennessee. The Titans started getting hot again towards the end of the season. I'm going to go Tennessee here. And I almost went Bengals. I'm so torn on this one. This is probably the most torn I've ever been on a game. But I'll go Tennessee here. So we got 3 for Cincinnati, 1 for Tennessee. We'll give Kevin Tennessee. The Saturday night game, another doozy, an 8:15 kickoff. 6-seeded San Francisco at 1-seeded Green Bay Packers. San Francisco, they looked really good last week, besides a couple of terrible passes from Garoppolo. But overall, they looked good. This is going to be another tough game to pick. Mike, you could start off with this one.
Yeah, again, this is a tough game. You're right. I believe I've been picking heavily the Packers most of the season, just as well as the 49ers, but I've enjoyed watching Jimmy grow this year out of all of them. And last night's game on Sunday night, I can't remember. My nights are all running together. What a game. That was so much fun to watch. I'm going to stick with my 49ers. I'm not, it seems like this West Coast stuff. I don't know why I like them so much, but yeah, I'm going to go with the 49ers.
All right. Andy, who are you going with?
It's a tough one to pick. I'm really torn, but I think weather plays a factor. It's going to be bitter cold in Green Bay on Saturday night. The 49ers have been impressive. They really have. They're healthy. They've turned the corner. I just don't know if I can see them going into Lambeau Field and winning. I do think they keep this close, but ultimately in the end, I think the Packers win by a touchdown.
All right, Jared.
Yeah, I'm going with the Packers here. I think, I think the mistakes that you saw the 49ers make late in the game, especially Garoppolo, I think if you make those against Green Bay, it's going to come back to bite you in the butt. Green Bay is too good of a team. Aaron Rodgers is obviously surgical. He's had a great season. And yeah, I think, the 49ers let the Cowboys back in that game. The Cowboys could have won that game. Again, I think if, I think Garoppolo maybe comes back to life a little bit, and yeah, give me the Packers this week by, maybe a touchdown, similar to Andy.
All right. I was really torn on this game. I'm going to go, as much as I love Jimmy G, I'm going to go Packers. I think Aaron Rodgers is on a mission this year. He's been red hot. I don't know if, the week off is going to slow him down at all a little bit, but it's at Lambeau. It's going to be cold. Green Bay's used to it. San Francisco is not. And you're right. The 49ers did almost cost themselves that game last week with a couple of towards the end of the game mistakes. You can't do that against Green Bay. You got to be pretty much perfect to beat this team. And everything to me might be lining up to another Green Bay Bucks NFC championship. So Green Bay Packers for me, which means Kevin will get San Francisco. Moving on to the two Sunday games. Speaking of the Bucks, the first game's at 3 p.m. We have the 4th-seeded Rams at the 2-seeded Bucks. Well, the Rams beat the Bucks during the season, and they beat them pretty good, I must say. And teams like the Rams have given Brady a lot of trouble. And as much as I think the Rams might have a better defense, I just can't bring myself to doubt Tom Brady in the playoffs. I can't. So I'm going to go Tampa Brady. Take down the Rams. Let's see. Andy, who are you going with?
I'm kind of torn between this game because the Rams do give Tampa Bay a lot of trouble, and the Buccaneers are banged up. I mean, they got banged up in that Philadelphia game. I don't even think they played that well, really, to be honest with you. The Rams are a much better opponent, and I think it's going to be a closer game. But, Tom, I have to agree with you. I can't pick the Rams I just can't pick them to beat Tom Brady in a playoff game. I'm going with Tampa, but it will be close. It's not going to be a blowout.
Oh, I think it definitely will be close. This is going to be – Tampa Bay cannot mess up like they have in these big games in the past and expect to come back.
And they don't have the players that they had last year. You got to, they are really banged up. There's only so much Tom Brady can do. I'm just saying, this Rams defense is legit. They're not intimidated by Tom Brady. They've given him problems. Even go back to the Super Bowl when they played the Patriots. Tom Brady did not play well in that game.
Defense won that game.
Yeah. If the Rams win this game, they might win the NFC.
Yeah, definitely. They certainly would have a chance. If they're able to take down Brady in the playoffs, you got to put them up there.
Yeah.
Jared, who are you picking?
This pains me because I love Tom Brady, but I'm going to go with the Rams here. I think the Bucks not having Tristan Wirfs, obviously he got injured, pro left tackle.
Yeah, loss.
When you have a big loss like that on your offensive line against a really good defensive line that has Aaron Donald on it, among other guys.
Von Miller too.
Yeah, and that's only going to create more problems for Brady. Brady's going to be under pressure. Again, I don't want to pick against Brady in the playoffs, but this Rams team is impressive. Again, Wirfs being out, Godwin being out, those are some key losses for the Bucks. It's going to be close, but give me the Rams here, as much as that, again, pains me to say.
By the way, speaking of the Rams, they just slaughtered Arizona yesterday. What the heck happened to the Cardinals?
Wow.
No comment.
That was unreal. Mike, who you going with?
Well, I'm gonna stick with you, Tom, and go on the Bucks because, granted, the Rams do give Brady a hard time. Rams did beat the Buccaneers, but the Rams did not beat playoff Tom Brady. So I'm gonna stick with the Bucks.
That's right. Playoff Tom Brady is even better than regular season Tom Brady.
Right.
All right.
I don't even want to talk about Super Bowl Tom Brady. That's a different story.
It's just on another level.
It's hard to pick against. It's hard to pick against playoff Tom Brady. But from what I saw from that defense last night, and knowing how banged up the Bucs are, I think the Rams are a very, very logical pick here.
Definitely, absolutely.
Yeah, and the Tampa Bay just, again, I mean, I know I've said it before, but they've really just, they don't play well against good defensive teams. It's hard for me. Believe me, this might be the game of the weekend. This is a tough game to pick.
This is going to be a great game.
Agreed.
But I just think Brady, he does it time and time again, and gotta ride the wave.
Yeah, I mean, I think the Rams have a better roster. The only factor that I went with picking the Bucs was Tom Brady,
quarterback. And again, that's what I keep saying. It's like outside of Aaron Rodgers and Tom Brady and maybe Patrick Mahomes, those are the three best quarterbacks left. That's why it's hard to pick against these guys.
Yeah, and if you could pick, who would you want in the NFC Championship? Would you want another Bucs Green Bay NFC Championship, or would you want to throw someone else in there?
No, because I want to see Aaron Rodgers lose again, because I'm so sick and tired of talking about this. The Packers, again, coaching an issue with that team. They were horrible in that game last. Now the Buccaneers were much healthier, but how can you bet against them? I mean, he does it time and time again.
Yep, absolutely.
Tired of it. I'm tired of talking about it. There's no comparison.
No, there is no comparison.
Well, that's why the Cowboys are out now, because look at who their coach is and look who he used to coach.
Bring him to New England. Make Tom happy. Bring McCarthy here.
Yes.
Oh man.
That would be that. Just real quick. Sorry. There's actually a rumor going around that Jim Harbaugh is going to go to the Cowboys. There is no way he's going to coach with Jerry Jones. It's not happening.
Yeah, I doubt it.
That would be a circus. You think it's bad now? Not happening. Nobody can stand the guy. He's never going to get a top-notch coach there. It's not going to happen.
No coach with a long reputation of success like Jim Harbaugh wants, an owner all over him telling him what to do, like Jerry Jones does.
Not happening.
By the way, I was very shocked that the Raiders fired Mike Mayock. I mean, all the stuff that happened to him this season, they make the playoffs. They gave Cincinnati a great run, and they had a talented roster, the Raiders. I think they could probably move on from Carr, but they had a very talented roster. I'm surprised they canned Mike Mayock.
Agreed.
Yeah.
I'm sure. You know what? Mayock will probably end up somewhere else. I think.
Yeah, I agree.
Pretty good with the Raiders. All right, Sunday at 6:30. This another doozy, another game that I'm totally torn on, and I have no clue who I'm going to pick yet. The third-seeded Buffalo Bills at the second-seeded Kansas City Chiefs.
This could actually be the game of the weekend. This could realistically probably be the game of the weekend.
Really, any of these four could.
They're really
good matchups. They are good matchups.
Looking at this matchup, I think the Bills are better built overall than Kansas City, but there's a quarterback factor. And as impressive as Josh Allen is, Pat Mahomes is on another level at times. He struggled early on this season, but he could certainly be unbelievable at times. I'm still torn, so let's start off with Mike.
Thanks. Yeah, I'm torn. I was hoping that I was going to hear at least two before me help me change my mind and make up my mind.
I'll start. If you guys want me to start,
Jared wants to start.
Hey, go ahead, Jared. Yeah, go ahead. See if you change your mind.
I'm taking the Bills here. Josh Allen, 5 touchdowns. The guy's playing at a high level. Stephon Diggs is an elite receiver. If they can run the ball, that's another added bonus. But the thing that makes me pick the Bills here is their defense. This team is really, really good defensively. Legit.
They are
legit. I think Pat Mahomes is obviously a brilliant quarterback, but let's see what he does against a really, really good defense that can obviously, turn that around and turn that into good offense. This Bills team is dangerous, guys. Honestly, this Bills team is dangerous. Give me the Bills here. I think it's going to be close. I'm not saying Bills in a blowout by any means, but give me the Bills here.
I think this game's going to be really close. I definitely like the Bills defense a lot more than the Chiefs defense.
And Dawson Knox is a legit tight end. That guy is good, man.
Yes.
No doubt about
I
it.
can play.
Well, I mean, Kansas City has this guy named Kelsey.
Oh, that's also true. Yeah.
I just, I know they played Pittsburgh last week, but Mahomes just exploded. I mean, he's unbelievable in the playoffs, unless he's playing Tom Brady, of course. I'm having a hard time picking, but I'm going to go Chiefs here. I don't know, the Mahomes factor, I guess. Kansas City's at home. This game's going to be really close. Won't surprise me if we see an overtime. I'm very torn. I'm kind of hoping the Bills win because I can't stand the Chiefs, but I think the Chiefs are going to pull it out. Andy, who you going with?
Going with the Chiefs, and it's not easy again. This Buffalo team is really good. They are really good. I just think they had it a little too easy last week with the Patriots. The Chiefs are a different animal. It's in Arrowhead, but the Bills will give the Chiefs problems, no doubt about it. Again, I go back to the quarterback. It's just hard for me to bet against Pat Mahomes. As much as I don't like the Chiefs, it's just tough. It's hard. I mean, he's just such a legit quarterback. And I just don't know if the Bills do win this game, though. Yeah, watch out. They might win the AFC.
Yeah, definitely. My heart is actually hoping that the Bills win this game because I just think it would be great to switch it up in the AFC. But
Right.
Mike, who you going with?
Well, again, my hat is leaning towards the Bills, but even though I don't want to see Mahomes win another Super Bowl, and yes, Mahomes is legit. He is the next king. He is, and the team is, I think, come along really well. But I believe the Chiefs will win, although my hat is in Buffalo.
All right. That means Kevin's going to get Buffalo, but this slate of games this week, I can't envision any of these games being a blowout. I really think they're all going to be close games. I guess if I had to pick one that has the best chance at being a blowout, I could picture Green Bay blowing out San Francisco. I don't think it's going to happen, but if I had to pick one. But great slate of football this weekend, unlike last weekend, where you only had a couple good games. But it's playoff football. You got to love it. Anything can happen at this point in the postseason. All right, we're just about out of time. Let's go around the table for final thoughts. Mike, any final thoughts?
Yes, Tom. I think you need to have a nice cup of tea, relax, take a nap. You kind of worked up there. I'll come over and check your blood pressure later, and do a welfare check on you, make sure you're fine. No, great weekend of football, and I'm just glad there's nothing on Monday.
Yes. If you're going to have a Monday game, it better only be that opening weekend. No other Monday games. Andy, any final thoughts?
Yeah, just real quick. I saw something on the news last night. The Olympics, they're in 2 weeks, and they just basically paused selling tickets. It doesn't look like you're going to have probably anybody watching the games over there. There'll probably be empty arenas, empty places. Kind of too bad, for the athlete, because watching the Summer Olympics without any spectators, it just wasn't the same,
Yeah, obviously you'd rather have fans there, but I mean, I definitely didn't think there would be fans with the current situation. I would actually be more shocked if there was fans there.
Very few, very, very few. I mean,
but
and also we saw a gentleman from Hopkinton just make the U.S. hockey team.
Oh, that's right.
Sean Farrell. Yeah.
Farrell did it. Yes.
Yeah. He was a great player. Really.
Yeah. Good for these young kids, too. This is a dream of a lifetime for them. Not that the NHL players don't want to go, but I think it's going to mean so much to these young guys. I mean,
definitely. And you can't have the NHL go. I mean, you got too many stoppages already.
Too many. Yep.
Because of COVID, you just paused 2 weeks. There's no possible way you could send the NHL guys. Jared, any final thoughts?
Yeah, second what Mike said. No, honestly, I mean, for anybody obviously that wants to move on from obviously the Patriots season being over. The Bruins are playing at a high level right now. Pasternak is getting going. Marchand is playing at a high level. This Bruins team is good, guys. And
that game Saturday was awesome.
Yeah, time to really buy into this team. I've been buying into this team for a while, but for anybody else that hasn't, I'm still out on the Celtics. But yeah, and also just lastly, best of luck to Emma Sweetapple, who was named new Hopkinton girls volleyball coach, taking over for Margie Grabmeyer. Emma's a former player. She was a standout. And I think she's coached she's been under Margie the last 6 or 7 years.
Yep.
So
and we'll be getting her on the show very soon.
Nice.
Yeah, I think she's going to do great and pick up right where Margie left off. Although, Margie is probably one of the greatest coaches of all time. You can never replace Margie, but I think Emma's going to do well. Yep. All right. Well, we are out of time for this fired up edition of HCAM Sports Talk. For Andy Barron, Jared Keene, and Mike Torosian, I'm Tom Nappy. Enjoy the games this weekend. Enjoy Hiller sports throughout the week. We'll talk to you again soon. Thanks for tuning in, everybody.
Hopkinton Dover Sherborne Girls Co-op Hockey took on Medway Girls Co-op. It was a 2-1 game heading into the second period in favor of Medway.
It certainly was. Bosworth, will she try it again? Rister into traffic. Shot from the circle, and that's in! Jenna Fitzsimmons, the junior. Sending it over is Musgrave. Finds Abby Wayne. And now into the slot. There's a shot turned away. Secondary shot, and that's in. Julia Byrne with the assist. Now trying to race up Monahan. She's diverted. There's a wrister, and that's in! What a nice shot that was by Morgan Frazier. Sent over out in front. There's a shot turned away. Good shot there by DeRocher. Squirts out to the line. Cox sends it into the slot. It's put in! And the Hillers are right back in the game. Getting in there, Bailey. And now on a break, here comes Moriarty. Racing in. Backhander, and it's in!